Guys, it's Icy New Year, and I am freaking starving. I just, heading out to go pick up B, and I realized I haven't eaten today. Well, I had a fortune cookie, but I don't really think that counts. Which is oddly enough a pretty good lead-in to the question for today from Bob Sobol. Bob Sobol. I actually don't know how to say your name. Like, you've been commenting on my videos for a very long time. You're an awesome viewer. I realize, looking at this now, I have always just imagined your name as Bob So Cool. There's no C in it, but it's just like how my mind read it. Okay, but I'm just kind of jumping in on the end of this comment, because he was talking about his experience with psychiatric medications. Most worrying was the meds I was given are designed to cut out heightened emotional responses. So I could watch a horrific news report and I'd think, that's horrible, right? I mean, it is horrible, so why doesn't it feel horrible? So distinct reduction in my ability to emphasize or be compassionate. I could still rationalize what my emotional response should be, but I wasn't really feeling it. I'd like to ask, since you say you're taking medication, what sort of side effects that causes and how you feel about that in general, pros and cons, only if you're comfortable talking about that. Well, I am. Actually, talk about medication fairly frequently. The guy's just driving through the neighborhood with a van with the door just wide open. It's a sliding door, it's just wide open. Oh, whatever. I'm one of those people that, you know, when my friends are going to be trying to do medication, they tend to come to me, because I've been on a huge amount of different medications. Like, I think I've been on every antipsychotic on the market except, like, 2? Something like that. And, yeah, my basic view of medication is I think the world is over-medicated in general. And that's not to say if you're on medication, you shouldn't be. I just think that doctors are far too quick to jump to medication. I do understand that, you know, some people need medication. I'm one of them, you know. I know what I'm like when I'm not on my medication, and it's not okay. Like, it's just not safe. Currently, medication-wise, I am on an antipsychotic, and what that does is it helps reduce hallucinations, delusions, paranoia, things like that. I am on an antidepressant, which is pretty self-explanatory what that one does. I am on a mood stabilizer, which basically that helps me reduce some of the manias I have. Because when I'm not on a mood stabilizer, if I go into a manic state, it tends to be a very heightened manic state compared to the normal manias I get. And I, spend far too much money, or, I basically enter a state where I can't sleep. I have fantastical thoughts. I basically feel invincible. It's a really great feeling, but it leads to pretty dangerous things. So, that's what the mood stabilizer is for. And I am also on a anti-anxiety med as a daily medication, and I have Xanax as a quick fast-acting anti-anxiety. So if I have a panic attack, I can take a Xanax to try to break that panic attack, basically. So those are the basic medications I'm on. And I've tried a ton. Like, I've tried a lot of different antidepressants. I actually haven't tried that many mood stabilizers, but I've tried most of the antipsychotics on the market and some of the anti-anxiety meds. I used to be on a lot of sleep meds, but they make my nightmares really, really intense, so they kind of did more harm than they did good, so I stopped taking sleep meds. But, side effect wise, I have gone through the gamut. Like, my current medication setup, which is the most balanced setup I've ever had, my antipsychotic causes really bad sun sensitivity. Basically, if I am out on an overcast day with SPF 50 on, like SPF 50 sunscreen, I'll start getting small, like, blisters or skin peeling within, 20-30 minutes. So I tend to avoid the sun. Direct sunlight days are no-goes. It also messes with my temperature control. So like I have trouble, I get hot very, very easily. Just realized this thing slid a little, whatever. But yeah, so those are some of the physical ones. I mean, I was on one that caused muscle spasms, so like my leg would shake and I just couldn't stop it, or my eye would continuously twitch. And there's a medication that's often prescribed with a lot of antipsychotics called cogentin. And what that medication is, it's kind of like, I think it's basically like a powerful antihistamine. It's to help reduce the effects of allergic reactions. And I keep a bottle of cogentin in the house in case, I have a allergic reaction to a medication, since that is something that can just pop up. So I keep one in the house just in case. But cogentin itself causes really blurred vision for me. Like I can't make things out more than 5 feet away. So I can't drive when I'm on cogentin. So any medication that I'd have to take cogentin to be on isn't a medication I can stay on, because I just can't function. But I guess you're kind of asking more on the mental side effect things. It's really hard for me to say. As part of the schizoaffective, like my views and my mental state is kind of different from societal norm. Like I have, it's called a flattened affect, which basically means your emotions are not perceived as deeply, both positive and negative. You don't have as many like peaks to your emotions, which is odd because I have bipolar. Well, the effect, this symptoms of bipolar, but my emotional responses to things that happen in everyday life are not as heightened as the average person. So my medication actually helps me, like, kind of heightens that a little bit, because it is a effect of the psychosis. So I kind of have the exact opposite. I feel a little more deeply while on my medication, while at the same time it's kind of getting rid of the extreme highs and lows that are chemical driven. So basically it puts me on a normal emotional path, if you will, a more typical emotional path, but at the same time, helps me process the emotions more better. There we go. Yeah, that works. More better. But yeah, so my biggest advice about medication in general, there's a couple things people, like, I can understand. I as a teenager, I used to do this. When you go to a doctor, a lot of people look at the relationship the wrong way. They look at, okay, this is a doctor who knows what he's talking about, or he or she knows what they're talking about, and they're going to prescribe me a medication and I need to take it. It's not how you need to look at it. It is a partnership. It is, hey doc, this is how this made me feel. These are the side effects I had. I want to try X. I want to try a different medication because I don't like the way this makes me feel. Or I want to try increasing this because it is not working for me. People forget that you have the right and honestly the responsibility to say no to a doctor. If you're going to a doctor and they're like, well, we want to try you on, let's say, Invega. Or Abilify. That's a good example for me. Because as I was on Abilify for a very long time, it was the first antipsychotic I was ever on, and it made me feel terrible. Like, I just felt out of it at all times. I felt nothing. It just killed me. And at the time, I had not yet come to this understanding that I'm allowed to tell a doctor no. And so what I did was lie about taking my medicine. I mean, I went 7, 8 months, almost a year, without taking an antipsychotic because I thought I wasn't allowed to just say, no, this isn't working. And then I've had another doctor be like, well, I want to try you on Abilify. And at this point, I've learned, no, I do not respond well to Abilify. I am not going to take that. Let's try something else. So, I mean, you really need to be willing to advocate for yourself. You know, don't let a doctor just say, well, this is what's new and exciting, so we're gonna do it. Like, I'm working on going towards a injectable antipsychotic, which not many doctors like doing because it's not a very common thing. But for me, I think it's the best thing because it's the same medication I'm on now, which I know works. But when I forget my medication, if I forget to take my medicine for a day or two, which happens sometimes, I get in this paranoid loop where I get paranoid about my medication, and so I start avoiding it and not taking it actively, or actively not taking it, I guess is a better way to say that. So with an injectable form of this medication, it's once every 2 weeks I get an injection, and it's oil-based, so it slowly seeps out into my system, and I can't just forget it for a day or two. If I mess up and don't go get my shot, there's someone there to call me out and be like, and the doctor's going to call me and be like, hey, you need this medicine, where are you? So it basically puts me in a position where I won't get into that loop. And I've changed doctors because my previous doctor wasn't willing to give it because they had never done it before. Not because they didn't think it'd be good for me, but because they had never done it before and they're like, well, I'm not comfortable with it. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to find another doctor. And I'm not saying ignore people's doctor's advice. I'm saying think for yourself and be willing to discuss and say no when you know things aren't going to work or when you've tried them. My other, I guess, statement on medication is unless the side effects are unbearable, give it a bit of time to see if it works. Because with psychiatric meds, I mean, there's a build-up period. It's not going to be like, okay, I took this antidepressant and 2 days later I feel all right. It takes time to get to that level in your system for it to have effect. So, you know, don't just take a medicine for 3 days and be like, oh, well, this doesn't do anything, I'm done. I mean, unless the side effects are to the point you cannot deal with it and they're significantly affecting your life, keep on, try it for a while before you make your decision. There's just little things I've picked up and going through, and like the list of medications I've been on is absurd. I hate filling out that list when I have a new doctor. It is painful. But, yeah, so that was, I guess the first vlog of August, which I'm really excited about. Here's my plea for help. Send me more questions. After answering this one, I think I have 2 left. And I can vlog about random stuff, but it's really nice to have these questions to fall back on and have jumping off points. I really, really enjoy them. This was a fantastic question. Thank you so much, Bob. I really enjoyed talking about this, and I hope that, what I've said here can help at least one person out. But yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. I'm going to end this one for today, and I'll see you back tomorrow with another vlog. As always, have a good one. You died, didn't you?